Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Yeti from Earth to Plates. So tonight is Tu B'Shvat, which is a time of the year, a day that we celebrate the fruit trees and we eat a bunch of fruits and make blessings on them. So tonight's dinner, I'm going to focus around that. It's going to be a lot of pomegranate mostly, and then we're going to have a delicious salad with some fruits as well. I'm going to bring you along and show you how we make dinner for tonight. Okay, so we're going to start off with a dessert, which will be a chocolate pomegranate pie. And for that, we're going to start off with a half a cup of pomegranate juice in our pot here. And 1 cup of coconut milk. Ooh, okay. I think I'll take that out. The chunk. Now we're going to turn on the heat and we're going to let this come to a boil. Okay, now that this is boiling, I have here 16 ounces of dark chocolate that I have chopped up. We're going to pour this mixture, hot mixture, over the chocolate. We're going to let it sit for a minute and then we're going to combine it. Okay, now that it's been a minute, we're going to mix this together and then we're going to transfer this over to a chocolate graham crust that we have here. So I'm mixing this, and because the mixture, the liquid was hot, and we let it rest for a minute, it melted all that chopped up chocolate. And we're just whisking it until it's nice and smooth and combined. And then we're just going to transfer it over to our graham cracker crust. Okay. Oh, that's full. Okay. And now we're going to top this with some pomegranate seeds. So to save myself some time, I bought a container of the seeded pomegranates. So I don't think I'll put in the full amount right now because I see that they're sinking. I think I'll come back in like maybe an hour, and we're going to add some more so that it's on top for presentation purposes. This will go in the fridge to set. It's flimsy. Let's see if I can keep it steady. The next thing we'll be working on is a French onion soup. We're going to start off with 3 onions. The recipe that I'll be making, and it's a recipe that I've been making for many years, is from the Beis Yaakov cookbook, page 68. I'm going to 1.5 the recipe. If there's any leftovers, it'll go in the freezer and it'll be a great lunch for a different day. The way I'm going to cut it for the onion soup is that I'm going to cut off the top and the bottom. I'm going to remove an outer layer. Okay, now the best way to cut this so that the structure of the onion stays nicely as you're caramelizing it, cut it in half, lay it down, and you're going to cut it from the top to the root end. Okay, so we're going to do this with the rest of the onions, and then we'll go back to the stovetop, we'll melt some butter and get this caramelizing. So because we're cutting it from the top to the root, we have very nice structures that won't break down when you're caramelizing it. Versus if we were to cut it this way, the onions, the veins are going in that direction. So this way you're cutting it against the veins and then it can fall apart. Okay, so we're starting off here with a 3/4 stick of butter that we are going to melt, and then we're going to start cooking down our onions. And I think I'll put the onions in already. And we're going to let this melt while the onion starts sauteing. Now once the butter is melted and this is starting to cook down, I am going to lower the heat and we're going to let this cook low and slow until it has a gorgeous caramel color. Now also while we got this going, we're going to prepare what's going to be the roux for the soup. So I'm going to start off with a bowl here. 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. Next, the recipe calls for 1/4 cup of flour. And because we're doing 1.5, I'm doing tablespoons because 4 tablespoons is a 1/4 cup. So we're doing 6 tablespoons. Now I'm going to do 3 teaspoons of salt. Now we're going to do some black pepper. The recipe calls for 1/4, so we're going to do 1/4 and 1/8. And 3 tablespoons of onion soup mix. We're going to mix this and we're going to set it aside. And we'll add this to the onions once that is done caramelizing. Okay, this is going to take a while, so I'll turn off the camera, but I'll show you every little bit what it's looking like. And I'll show you what we're doing once this is fully caramelized. So this is starting to develop some really nice color and some browning. I think we're going to let it go for just a little bit longer before we start making the roux. Okay, this has beautiful color now. So we're going to get our spices that we combined earlier in here. We're going to let this cook down for a minute, and then we're going to add some water. Okay, now we're going to let this come up to a boil. Once it boils, we're going to let it simmer for 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, so our soup just started boiling. I'm going to set a timer. And at the same time, we're going to start working on our salmon. We're going to make a pomegranate-glazed salmon. And for the glaze, we're just going to cook down 4 cups of pomegranate juice. I'm going to add that to the pot here. We have to bring it up to a boil. And this will also cook down for about 30 to 40 minutes. And just like before, I'm not going to leave the camera running for all this time. I'm going to keep on showing you periodically what this is looking like. Okay, so our soup is cooking. Our pomegranate juice is cooking down nicely. We're going to start working on our salad here. So I have a salad bowl. And here I have some kale that I have rinsed and spun dry. I'm going to get some kitchen shears and run it through the kale to get it just a little bit smaller. We're going to let it sit with some oil. It's going to wilt a little bit. Going to get them a little bit smaller. Okay, I'm going to juice half of a lemon in here. Trying that it shouldn't spray all over. I'm going to drizzle this with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil with some salt and pepper. And now we're going to massage this in. The recipe actually called for kosher salt. I use regular salt. Okay, that'll be okay. We're going to top our salad with some thinly sliced mango. Now we're going to top it with some blueberries. I'm going to set this aside. I think I'll actually put it in the fridge for now. And we're going to work on the dressing. So for the dressing, I'm going to squeeze the second half of the lemon into this container here. So now the recipe calls for 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil divided. I don't know how much I put onto the kale. So we're going to do it a little bit shy. We need 2 teaspoons of honey. I'm going to add some kosher salt in here and some black pepper. I believe that's all we need. Let me just confirm with the recipe. I will have the recipes linked for you down below. Let me see. For the dressing, lemon juice, honey. We're supposed to whisk the lemon juice with the honey, then slowly mix in the olive oil, and then season with salt and pepper. I'm just going to do it this way. And I could have done it in a smaller container too. I'm going to place this in the fridge together with a salad. And the recipe calls for some pumpkin seeds, but I have sunflower seeds, so this is what I'll be using to top the salad. For the fish, we're just going to lay the slices down here. We're going to sprinkle some salt and pepper on it with some olive oil. We're going to bake it on 400 for 18 to 20 minutes. Okay, so our soup has been cooking for 40 minutes. I'm going to put it on a very low heat until we are ready to eat. And this is, I'll give it another 5 minutes or until I get the fish into the oven, and then I'll turn that off too. And the recipe says that as it's cooling, once you take it over the flame, it'll thicken up a bit more. And then that'll make a nice glaze to go over the fish when we serve it. Gonna turn off the back heat. And I'm gonna remove it. It's hot. We're gonna remove it from the heat so it can start cooling and stiffening up a little bit. And I forgot to tell you guys that in the list of ingredients, the recipe calls for sugar, but nowhere in the directions it said where to add it. So when I noticed that, I did add some sugar in here, and I think that'll help with the thickening as it cools. Okay, we're almost ready to eat. The fish needs another 4 minutes. And while that was in the oven, I prepared this fruit platter. We have here some pink pineapples, some dates, the red passion fruit. What? Sorry, red dragon fruit. Delicious red dragon fruit. We have some grapes. We have some lychees. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. We have some passion fruit, some mango, some star fruit, and some raisins. I'm going to get this to the table. And we're going to get to plating up some food. I'm going to show you what they look like when I serve them. As promised, here comes the plating. We're going to start by dressing the salad and adding the nuts on top. Then I'm going to plate up the soup, and we're going to add some shredded mozzarella cheese into that as well. And then you'll see me plating up the fish and the salad, dressing the fish with pomegranate sauce that we had cooked down and topping it with some additional pomegranate seeds. And finally, you'll see me just serve up some of the dessert, which I had forgotten to add the pomegranate seeds on top. So I just did that as I was serving. And if you've enjoyed the video and you've made it this far, I would appreciate it if you can hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos, consider hitting the subscribe button. And if you want to see even more videos before now on my next upload, I will pop some up on the screen for you to watch and enjoy. I hope to see you next time.